Let's get into the CJ Stroud MVP case, as now he is inching more and more into that conversation, beating Joe Burrow and the Bengals in Cincinnati 30-27. And what more can we say about CJ Stroud with what he's doing right now in his rookie year, being that second overall pick with the defensive-minded rookie head coach, former player in DeMeco Ryans. And the things that CJ Stroud is actually doing right now is incredibly impeccable for him to be a rookie quarterback. 62% completion, 2,626 passing yards. That is the third best ever in the first 9 NFL games. Justin Herbert at number 1, just shy of 2,700. And Andrew Luck at number 2. CJ's got 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 101 passer rating on the year. He's second in the league in passing yards, 9th in passing touchdowns, and we know the guy doesn't throw interceptions, right? He's only got 2 so far this year. Now, yes, he does have a few that should have been caught by defenders, but either way, they haven't went down on the scorecard for him. He's 10th in QBR in the NFL and 6th in passer rating overall. And you look at how the Texans were last year. In 2022, they were a 3-win, 13-loss, 1-tie game football team. They were the 30th ranked offense. And then you look into 2023, they bring some pieces in CJ Stroud, the number 2 overall pick. They bring in DeMeco Ryans, like I just mentioned. They bring in Tank Dell as the rookie. They bring in Robert Woods, Dalton Schultz, Noah Brown. Nico Collins is breaking out. All of these guys clicking together, I don't think it would be possible without the presence of CJ Stroud as that number 2 overall pick. And now they have the 10th ranked offense in the NFL. They're 5-4, and they are fighting for a division lead. And there's nothing that they can do to possibly mess this up at this point in time because of how they're playing right now in the NFL. They have the 25th best rushing attack right now, and CJ Stroud is still able to pull this off. He's 7th in odds at the moment. You look at the fact that he's got back-to-back weeks with game-winning drives against the Bucs at home and then in Cincinnati against the Bengals as well. And you look, in the Cincinnati game, he starts with 14 plays, 91 yards on 2 drives, but it's a punt and a fumble and really less than 6 minutes of possession that were chewed up against the Bengals. So it wasn't necessarily looking like the best game for CJ Stroud and the Texans out of the gate. I picked the Bengals to win this football game and was fairly shocked when the Texans, yet again, I pick against them in back-to-back weeks. I picked the Bucs, I picked the Bengals, and they proved me wrong in both situations. But the fact that he was able to go toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow, who if would have had a pass caught by Tyler Boyd, of course, then we'd possibly be having a different conversation here, even if CJ Stroud was sitting at 4-5, well, yeah, 4-5 because they were 4-4 walking into the game. Maybe we would be having a different conversation, but CJ Stroud was already starting to heat up in the top quarterbacks of the league, just like a Justin Herbert was. I didn't expect him to get into these conversations, but it's not a shock with what we saw out of him in the draft profile and how he's playing right now in the NFL. You look at CJ Stroud on that 2nd and 7 in the third quarter, play action, avoids Trey Hendrickson, scrambles in a circle behind the line of scrimmage, completes the pass, and then scrambles, for the touchdown. He scrambled for the touchdown in a separate play of the game. But after the PA rollout, getting away from Trey Hendrickson, completing the pass, you look at him scrambling out of the pocket on a would-have-been touchdown pass to Robert Woods. That was an amazing play right there. No question. It was called back for illegal touching, but CJ Stroud had another play in his arsenal that almost went down officially for him. We see in this game, he almost throws 2 interceptions. One was dropped. The other pick was bad. That's just a rookie mistake from CJ Stroud. I don't know what he was seeing there. The defender jumped right in front of it, and it was plain as day. The wide receiver was not going to catch that. And that one was almost taken back for 6 as well. So, again, there were a couple of points in this game that CJ Stroud had some things not go his way. And this interception that was almost taken back was one of them. And I hate when people come out and are like, oh, if the season ended today, okay, well, great. Like Germ from Stuff About Sports says, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. And sorry for everyone that's listening and might not have wanted to hear that, but that's just the hypotheticals that we deal with when we're talking about, oh, if this happened with the season or if this happened with the postseason. I understand on a podcast we make predictions that some of what we do here, but we got to let the season play out, right? If the postseason did end today, though, the Texans would be in. Again, CJ Stroud is 7th in MVP odds. Of course, there's Tua, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, other players ahead of him. But if we're really talking about CJ Stroud being in that MVP conversation, I'd like to take him over Tua because I like the defenses that CJ Stroud has went up against so far this year over what Tua's went up against. At this point, I might take CJ Stroud over Josh Allen. I know we're only 9 games in, but CJ Stroud has shown us that he doesn't turn the football over, doesn't have a lot of turnover worthy plays. We're going to talk about Josh Allen playing the Broncos in a little bit later in the show, but we know that Josh Allen is turnover prone as well. Of course, you would take Jalen Hurts over him. Of course, you would take Joe Burrow over him. Of course, you would take Patrick Mahomes, possibly even Jared Goff. That was CJ Stroud's comp coming in was Jared Goff. I feel he's a little better than that, but nonetheless, CJ being in this MVP conversation, actually up there in the odds as a rookie quarterback, you have to love it. If you're a fan of football, you love what this is showing you right now. In this game, they never trailed, and the completion to Noah Brown was absolutely insane multiple times in this game. The connection to him, Noah Brown, that's the same Noah Brown that was with the Dallas Cowboys and is now balling out with CJ Stroud over there with the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud has the most completions of 25 plus yards in the NFL right now. And if there is one statement that can really sum up why CJ Stroud should be in the MVP conversation, here it goes. There's 5 quarterbacks that have started 9 games of the season, the first 9 games of the season, with 15 touchdowns, 2,600 plus passing yards, and 2 interceptions. Stroud is one of them. Would you like to know the other 4? Don't worry, I'll go ahead and tell you. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers. I'll let that sink in. He is one of 5 quarterbacks in the likes of Brady, Mahomes, Brees, and Rodgers to have 15 plus passing touchdowns, 2,600 plus passing yards, and 2 interceptions or less. CJ Stroud is in rarefied air. Did I think he was possible of that? Absolutely not. But it's what he's doing, and we have to sit here and give him his credit. And you look at the defenses he's played well against. He beat my Saints and that defense back when they were solid a couple weeks back. He beat the Bucs defense. Yes, that defense gave up 39 points, but the Bucs are still a defense that you have to respect in the league. The Steelers defense that is very vaunted. The Jags defense at the time that was very solid. The Bengals defense with Lou Anarumo. The Falcons defense. I understand the Falcons defense isn't the greatest this year, and they lost that game. But CJ Stroud has played well against a lot of good defenses in his rookie year, and he's 4-2 in those football games against the Saints, Bucs, Steelers, Jags, Bengals, and Falcons. Now, you look at the rest of the schedule for CJ Stroud, I believe he's got a chance to win it. If he doesn't win it, I believe he will be either second or third place. And I know there's only 3 to 4 MVP votes every year. Sometimes we have 4 or 5. It just depends on how the season is played out. But I will say it right now. CJ Stroud will be no lower than third place in MVP voting. I'm not saying right now he's absolutely going to win it because Patrick Mahomes still does exist. Joe Burrow is now heating back up. I would say those will be the 2 locks ahead of CJ. And of course, you'd have a Jared Goff in that conversation as well as playing very well. Russell Wilson is also playing solid football as well. I'm not trying to throw every quarterback's name in the pool, but you think of quarterbacks that are playing good ball this year, CJ's going to have some competition. But the rest of the schedule and how it's going to play out, so the last 8 games of the year, at home against the Cardinals, at home against the Jags, at home against the Broncos. So a nice homestead there. I think the Jags and the Broncos are going to be a nice test for him in terms of defensively. Then he's turned around on the road at the Jets, on the road at the Titans, home against the Browns, home against the Titans, and then on the road against the Colts. So he's got his work cut out for him defensively for at least 4 of these next 8 games. I mean, especially with the Browns, you look at the Jets, the Broncos have only given up less than 20 points per game ever since that 70 burger to Miami. The Jags are still the Jags. Thankfully, they're at home against the Broncos, against the Jags, against the Browns. That's another good one to be at home against. But CJ Stroud is going to have his work cut out for him. I got to give him his respect. I love what CJ Stroud is doing right now. As a rookie, only one player ever, the Honorable Jim Brown, is the only rookie ever to win the MVP award. And CJ Stroud is 100% in that conversation. Texans fans, CJ Stroud fans, Ohio State fans, I want to hear from y'all down in the comments. Let me know what you think as we just get the first comment in on the show. What's up, Darby? CJ Stroud for his MVP case is pretty undeniable. And again, y'all heard me a couple of weeks ago. This guy's on pace for 4,800 yards, 30 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It's scaled back some, but he's still on pace to have a fantastic rookie year. Just got to bring up that completion percentage, and I'm happy with CJ Stroud's presenting, and I believe that's going to be very prominent within the next couple of years, if not next year.